実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる、止まる、止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば
横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. ブリッド。
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Ospo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Kenda。伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮。チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC。
モティ。
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる、止まる、止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば
横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
クオリティオブジャパニーズクラフトマンシップグリッド。
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Galspo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Kenda.
伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮、チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC。
モティー。
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
Sure. Ohayou gozaimasu. Good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation, around the world. Get your strawberry haichu and your Big Boss coffee together because it's the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship Round 4 at Okuibuki Ski and Snowboard Park. I am your host, Ryan Sage, alongside judge and commentator Ryan Lantain. Now, Ryan, it's a beautiful day. We've had a little bit of weather over the weekend, but we had a tremendous qualifying yesterday. We'll get into some of the top 10 videos, but our number one qualifier, the young Kanta Yanaguida, really came out of the gate, blew everybody away with a 96. What do you make so far of the competition up here in the mountains?
Well, right now we're watching practice. This is top 32 practice, so this is the very last practice session they have before they go out for competition, and Kanta's looking really good. He's kind of carrying through that qualifying, that really strong qualifying lap, and laying it down here today in practice. There are only a couple of drivers that are doing as well as him right now, so he has a great opportunity here, I think, in 32 at least, until he gets into the higher parts of the bracket where it might get a little more difficult. But it's looking really strong so far from, I think, him, Masuyama, and a couple of other drivers are pushing through in practice right now, looking pretty strong. But Ueo's another one that's looking really strong in the lead position. So I think we're going to have a great set of battles here today, and looking forward to watching this top 32.
So final stages of the top 32 practice. 50-plus drivers entered competition, and now we've whittled it down to the top 32 as we're seeing the last few practice laps taken away. Ryan, you guys spent a lot of time last night in the top 32 drivers meeting talking about the lead driver's responsibilities and how incredibly that is important on this particular track, especially with outside zone number 1, getting the proper initiation, allowing the chase driver to have an opportunity to chase. We saw a lot of guys doing 2 or 3 or more movements before initiation. Why don't you talk a little bit about that before we get into competition, just so as we see the first battles go out, they know what you guys expect out of that initiation.
This is something we've started instituting in the U.S. Over the last couple of years. Is since we have people doing the manji initiation, we have some people doing the straight line initiation, and now that we have the lead driver with the right-of-way, we need to make sure that the lead driver isn't doing anything that will impede the chase driver. So one of the major things we saw here especially was the drivers going kind of swaying up the hill before initiation. So they're doing 4 or 5, manjis before they actually initiate, and that really throws off the chase driver. They don't know the timing, the positioning. So we instituted this in the U.S. as well, a 2-move maximum for the initiation, which means if you're going to flick the car before you initiate, that's okay. You can flick it to the left and then initiate towards the right. That's fine. You just can't do multiple moves before then. And if the driver is doing that, it's going to be held against them pretty seriously. And if it's a very big infraction on the chase driver, it could even be an incomplete, an unchaseable lead. So it's very important that that chase driver have the opportunity to stay close up to initiation, or there's not going to be a tandem battle. So that's why we put so much emphasis on that. Outside zone 1 here is very important. In qualifying, it was worth 10 points, while the other scored areas were worth 5 points each. Now, it's important because it's difficult to achieve. It's difficult to get that car into that zone. There is a wall there. It's not a typical wall that we're used to, one that will move a little bit if hit. It's part of the mountain, basically. If they hit that, it's a big chunk of rock, and you can see there on the map where outside zone 1 is. We had a couple of cars hit it yesterday, and it does some serious damage, even at slower speeds. So drivers need to fill that outside zone 1, get into inside clip 1, and then transition the car to outside zone number 2. Now, outside zone number 2 is one that we're only seeing a few drivers fill this morning in practice properly, and that's going to have a huge bearing on competition later on today once we start that competition with the top 32 drivers. So outside zone 2 is important, and outside zone 1. The rest of the course flows really well. The only place we have a potential slowdown is at inside clip number 2. As the cars are going down the hill, they could potentially slow there and cause a bunch up with the chase driver. It's an area where the lead driver should be maintaining momentum and not slowing down. The finish line we did paint, but the rubber has been laid down over top of it pretty significantly in practice, and we just want to make sure that the cars are drifting over the finish line.
All right, Ryan, let's get into the top 10 BDOs from qualifying yesterday. These were our top 10 drivers that landed those really important spots, not only for positioning in the top 32 bracket, but Ryan, also the points for the championship. We'll get into that in a little bit more detail about where we stand in the championship right now. But as this video rolls up, take us through the top 10 and tell us some of the high marks for some of these drivers.
Yeah, this is Matty Hill here from Australia. He did a great job yesterday, and he's been looking really strong in practice today as well, getting the car where it should be on the track. And then we have Fujinaka here in his FD3S, looking pretty smooth as well, in 9th place. This is a car that is running on a set of small tires. They're narrow, small wheels, and yet able to lay down a pretty solid lead run. They're 15-inch wheels. I think they're 195s on there. So it's a very different setup than a lot of the other cars. But if you have a lightweight car with those narrower tires, it can work. And then going up to 7th place here with Kume, Shinji Minoa nabbed 6th place. You can see a great job there on outside zone 1. The cone hit's not really a big deal because we're looking more at where the car is on the track as opposed to the big trunk overhanging. And then we have Yamashita here in 5th place. Did a great job in his JZX Mark II, getting the car positioning. You can see that tire just leaving briefly there of outside zone 2, but as we get higher up here, you'll see the drivers filling that outside zone 2 more and more, and they were given more points for that, obviously. Jin Harino in 4th place in his S15, so watch him as he gets into outside zone number 2. Look at that rear wheel, see that, stays in the box almost all the way around. And that's what we're looking for in that area. The outside zone 1 and 2 are 2 areas that differentiate a lot of these drivers because not everybody's able to achieve those zones. So Masuyama here qualified in 3rd place, did a great job on zone 1, and watch his left rear tire in zone 2. Got a little wall tap, dropped the bumper, so that looked great. Didn't really have any kind of interruption in his drift. He tapped that wall, but it wasn't a consequence. Here's Andrew Gray burning all the way up the hill. Missed outside zone 1, but did well throughout the rest of the course. As we said yesterday, you can make a mistake in one area but still have a high score based on the other criteria that the judges are looking at. So it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect everywhere, but look at Kanta Yanaguida. Great job in outside zone 1, bumper right over that yellow line, so the tire was close. Just touches inside clip number 1, tire on that outside line. Great job placing his car where it should be, and he was aggressive on throttle too, so he wasn't taking it easy, and that's what a lot of the other drivers tried to emulate as they went into their second qualifying run because they saw what Kanta did and the score that he achieved with that run, so people were trying to emulate it, but not really having the success that he did.
Well, let's talk about the championship because it's important. With just one more round left to go after Okuibuki, we head to Okayama, which is a very high-speed track, probably one of the more challenging tracks that we go to. And at the time of the year that we're there, it tends to be a little bit colder. We've even seen snow there in the past. Right now, Masuyama has come on as the dominant series leader in the championship, 227 points. He's in first place, and in big part because he's really come on and improved his head-to-head game, especially his chase game. Koichi Yamashita in second place, 197 points. After that win in Fuji, he surged right in that second spot. And Andrew Gray, the three-time champion, just outside in third. Andrew Gray has done well here at this track before. He seems to do really well in almost any conditions, but he did have that early out in Fuji, which has pushed him back to third place. His teammate, Sheng Yan, is not here this weekend. He has a personal matter. But, Ryan, what do you make of the championship so far, and do you have any favorites in your mind from what you've seen here in practice and qualifying from those three drivers in particular, given where they're locked in the bracket?
Well, I think this season we've seen less precision from Andrew Gray. He's a three-time champion to Formula Drift Japan, and I don't think he's been driving the way that we're used to seeing him drive. He hasn't been quite as precise. Even in practice today, we saw a couple of little errors from him. He's not able to put the car where he wants, it seems like. And to be honest, he has a very big car here. Any of the JZX cars here at this smaller, tighter track are going to be at a bit of a disadvantage, I feel, just because of the nature of the course that we have here. Those big, high-horsepower cars don't have the advantage that they would elsewhere. But if you go to that bigger track like you were talking about, Okayama, those big horsepower cars, 800-900 horsepower, big, fat, sticky tires, that's where they have that big advantage. That's why here you're seeing cars that maybe have a little less horsepower, narrower tires, smaller wheels that are able to do well because it is more of a technical, slower track. And as we pointed out yesterday, just because this is a small track doesn't mean that it's easy. Getting a car to outside zone 1 is tricky. It's a knife's edge between not enough speed going up the hill and too much. Not enough, you're going to end up treating inside clip 2 as inside clip 1 up the hill, which is definitely not what you want to do. But too much and you end up in that wall, which we had a couple of drivers do yesterday. So that's a very tricky area right there. Outside zone 2 is not easy either. But watching qualifying yesterday and then practice today, it seems like the guys that were doing well yesterday in qualifying are still doing well this morning in practice. They've carried through with their ability that they kind of developed yesterday in practice, and we're still seeing those same strong drivers from yesterday be strong in practice today. So I'm not going to make any predictions, but it looks like qualifying is perhaps going to be setting the tone for tandem today, which isn't always the case. Yesterday was dry. Today's dry as well. So we don't have a change in track conditions necessarily, although we did from Friday to Saturday. So maybe that had something to do with it as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers, maybe they're playing possum a little bit right now. Maybe they're in practice just saying, I'm going to not drive my fullest because maybe the spotters are watching and I don't want them to see how great I can do.
And just to point out right there, for those not familiar, that was Wataru Masuyama on screen there, walking over, getting ready for the top 32. You can see some of the cars. We've been told that we're running about 5 minutes late. We ran a little bit long in practice to give these guys a little bit extra time, and we'll be underway pretty quickly. Now that you've kind of mentioned your thoughts on the championship, one driver that I want to bring up that is not necessarily a dark horse, but somebody that has had a podium this year, has always been a driver that has gone extremely aggressive in almost every single run that we've seen him, not only in practice, qualifying, head-to-head, obviously, and that is Katsuhiro Ueo. Now, he's on the left-hand side of the bracket. He's currently sitting in fourth place, and being on the left-hand side of the bracket, he's actually on the same end as Koichi Yamashita. Now, Yamashita is on the opposite end of the bracket of Andrew Gray and Masuyama, so there's a real possibility that in one of the early rounds, not in the top 32, of course, but potentially in the top 16, that Yamashita and Ueo could potentially meet. Any thoughts on Ueo, generally speaking, overall, and how he could play into this championship?
Well, he's a real wild card, and we talked about him yesterday. He is a very aggressive driver. He drives a lot by feel. You can tell that he's not really very calculated in his driving, which makes him very entertaining to watch. But the problem with driving in that way is that it's not always repeatable and it's not always consistent. And that's what makes him the wild card, because from time to time he can put a run together that just blows your mind and nobody can keep up with. He's constantly driving at 10 tenths, sometimes 11 tenths. It's really wild to watch him throw the car around full throttle. He's definitely the smokiest driver out here.
Right.
And, you know, just looking at the design of his car alone, that should set the tone for him and his personality. It's definitely splitting opinions, let's say. It's not the kind of design that will appeal to everybody, but it definitely looks wild, and it's kind of the car version of him, I feel like. You know,
I agree with that.
Not everybody loves his driving style, but you can't argue with how entertaining it is to watch. So he could definitely throw a wrench in anybody's program today, just with how fast, aggressive, on throttle, and really pushing the boundaries that a lot of other drivers aren't comfortable doing. He doesn't seem to care if he wads his car up, which is really fun to watch. So it's going to come down to whether or not he's able to be consistent through the battles today. I know he's going to try. You just watch him drive onto the course during practice. He comes around that little corner, gets on the track. Everybody else might do a little bit of tire warm-up down the hill. He earlier went full throttle, full smoke, all the way down the hill towards the start line. And it's so outside of the norm when you look at what the other drivers are doing, but that's just how he operates on a daily basis, it seems.
Well, it is 9:08 local time here in Japan, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time back in Southern California. 2:08 in the morning in Madrid. We've got fans all over the world watching the live stream. We appreciate it. A lot of fans also from Australia cheering on Matty Hill, who has had a punctuated season, not a full season this year, but has come on the past few events, has looked pretty good. We'll see him on the left-hand or the right-hand side of the bracket later on in the top 32. There you can see some of the cars starting to line up as we head down and begin our first battle. We will see Kanta Yanaguira as our first driver up against Tomoyuki Kitashiba, which is a driver you would recognize quite a bit. He's going to be that driver right there in the front with the neon yellow and blue Sunoco Goodyear 86. So we've got the first few battles getting ready to go. You're looking at the Team Paddock and Pit. Just right above that is the Vendor Midway, along with the Freestyle Motocross and tons of really great food here. It's been a really fun venue the first time we came here. The beautiful stream that runs off the mountain is something that the drivers go right across when they're leaving outside Zone 1, coming into the parking lot area, and then go back down. And we've seen some, let's be honest, really fantastic and crazy crashes in that area. The K-rail that's been laid on this track, some of it is permanent, some of it is semi-permanent, but it really does not move. Yesterday we saw Sunju Cho go really hard into that wall that was really maybe 18 inches away from that ravine that goes down about 20 to 30 feet to the stream below. So as we see some of the cars heading out, you can imagine that as we build up into competition, we're certain to see some pretty crazy action along with a few wrecks. It seems to be par for the course here. It's a tight course, and the gearing ratio needs to be really set up properly. And we saw a lot of drivers, Ryan, in practice, maybe not really thinking about what you guys had mentioned is really required from the lead driver, which is to fill those zones, those outer zones completely. Try not to run away from the chase driver, but really do your best in the lead position. And I'm hoping that sank in last night so we get the best possible drifting, because you really do need a good lead to have a fantastic chase.
Yeah, we were talking with the drivers yesterday about loosening their cars up a little bit maybe, because it seems like some of them are way too grippy. As we mentioned yesterday as well, we have something like 12 or 13 tire brands in this series, and as we said again, this is the wild, wild east in terms of tire regulations, and not only the amount of tires, but the level of the tire compounds is just out of this world here in Japan. And some of these cars are insanely fast because of the tires that they have. Sure, everywhere in the world you've got cars with a lot of horsepower, but the amount of grip from these tires, sometimes it seems like the they develop too much grip for the drivers, and they need to try to dial some of that grip out because it makes it very difficult to drive around the course. It's hard to get the car to go out wide consistently where you want it to go when the tires and just the overall setup of the car is too grippy. So, we kind of recommend to some of them, hey, you might want to loosen that car up a little bit. It seems like you're fighting the car. You're not able to put it where you need to put it. And, from qualifying, you should look at your score and say, well, there may be a problem there. I'm not really getting the line score that I want to get, or I can't get the car to angle properly where I need to. So maybe I should adjust some of these things, because when it comes to tandem competition, as we compare lead to lead, if that other lead driver is able to put his car where he needs to and fulfill those lead driver goals, clearly they're going to have an advantage, and that's not what you want going into a battle. You want to be able to put your best foot forward and put the car where you need to put it.
Well, that's us up there. Hello, how are you? We are sitting up on top of a kind of a balcony made up of really big granite boulders up on top of the parking lot up here. So we are looking down upon the lower parking lot, and also the long run up that comes from the start line down there. And it's interesting, Ryan, you mentioned the kind of the pseudo tire wars that are going on over here. It's to contrast that, we have a much different setup in the United States, where from a governmental agency perspective, tire manufacturers have to go through a pretty broad process and tell the tread wear rating and where it can be sold, and go through a lot of different things to get tires to be sold in the U.S. Here, there's not something totally similar, but from a historical perspective, tire manufacturers here have really been doing a lot of R&D and engineering to try and find the grippiest tire, and there's oftentimes a lot of really crazy compounds that get used. So we have over 13 manufacturers that we've counted that participate in Formula Drift Japan, all with the different compounds, different tread patterns, and it's really created a really interesting dynamic. So we will talk more about that, but let's get our first battle underway here. It is going to be Kanta Yanaguida versus Tomoyuki Kitashiba, and there they are, ready to go. The number 1 qualifier versus the 32nd qualifier.
And I believe there's a pretty big spread in points between the two of them. 96 to, I don't know what Kitashiba's score was, but it's a pretty big gap.
So the chase driver is allowed to leave the gate early. Yanaguida taking that kind of straight line approach, 1-2 stepped into the initiation. Nice job on that first outside zone. Kitashiba takes that lower line to try to gain proximity. You see him coming over the bridge now, wrapping back around. Kitashiba's going to spin out after inside clip 1, go off course. Now, Yanaguida does need to finish the run, and he does do that. Let's take a look at what happened there, Ryan. It looked like Kitashiba may have got lost in the smoke, didn't have his transition set up properly. Let's take a look at it again.
Yanaguida did a pretty great job up in the lead position. He did hit inside clip number 1 pretty aggressively, I'd say. But look at his initiation there. He did his little bobble side to side, gets the car to angle. Good job in outside zone 1, as he's been doing. Goes by inside clip 1, and as you said, I think maybe Kitashiba got lost in that smoke, and he just, the old muscle memory isn't what it should have been, let's say, and he rotated the car a little bit too early and ended up going 4 wheels off course. So that'll be an incomplete for Kitashiba in the chase position, and now Kitashiba is going to have to lay down a heck of a lead run to try to phase out Yanaguida in the chase.
So your number 1 qualifier continuing to excel here, 1 step away from moving on into the top 16. Kitashiba with an incomplete. And he will have to do some heavy lifting here to try to take out the young Kanta Yanaguida. Here we go. Second run. Kitashiba burning out off of the start line. Straight line approach. E-brake initiation. Tries to fill that outside zone. He's going to come off a little bit early. Yanaguida, even though young, playing it fairly mature here. Keeping the pressure on, but not getting too close to avoid any uncalculated mistakes. And as they wrap through this last inside clip, that's going to be all she wrote for Tomoyuki Kitashiba. The young Kanta Yanaguida, the number 1 qualifier, will get the win. Let's take us through the second run.
Yanaguida did a great job, as you say, of calculating how close he needs to be without putting too much pressure on himself to get super close to the lead car there. You can see Kitashiba misses outside zone 1 compared to what Nogueira did on his lead, and same thing here for outside zone 2. He doesn't really get in that box around outside zone 2, drops a tire there just after it, and that's a common error that we've seen. If you're not really getting the car to angle properly at the beginning of outside zone 2, you tend to overshoot past outside zone 2 and go a tire off there. So that's a kind of a common problem that we see when they're not laying out the run properly and setting themselves up for outside zone 2.
All right, and the judges' results are coming in unanimously. It is Kanta Yanaguida, car number 5-7, getting the win. And Ryan, I think I came up with a new oxymoron. I said uncalculated mistakes. Are there any mistakes that are calculated?
I don't know. It depends on how you get through life, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Some people plan ahead for certain things.
Some people plan for failure. So there it is, the winner by unanimous decision. Ryan, you're up here with us doing commentary, but also judging. You were the line judge yesterday. We also have Andy Yen and Robbie Nishida, who is our third judge, also serving as a commentary assistant to the Japanese side of things. So if you're interested in watching the Japanese broadcast, it's on the Formula Drift Japan YouTube page. You can also find a direct link at formulad.jp. But if you're here joining the English broadcast, you've got two options here on the Formula Drift website, formulad.com/live, or if you're joining us on Facebook, it's on the Formula Drift Facebook page. Next battle up, Kudai Sobagiri in that R31 taking on Shuichi Mano. 666. Sobagiri, the highest qualified driver, will lead first. He initiates just on the inside of that outside zone, then goes a little bit deeper. Mano's trying to find an opportunity to close the door. A little bit on the inside is Sobagiri. Now he gets deeper into that second outside zone, and Mano on a tighter line here. So it looks like the lead driver doing a little bit better job, at least as his responsibilities are concerned. And just to point out, Ryan, after that last inside clip, it's about 30 some odd feet to the finish line where you guys are expecting the drivers to unwind and get off throttle. Take us through this first run.
It looks like Sobagiri in the lead position does an okay job here. Not really getting deep early on, but does get into the box for outside zone 1 down the line. Nice job on inside clip 1. Could have been deeper in outside zone 2, though. Looking at the chase driver, Mano, not really mimicking what the lead driver's doing there. He's kind of off pace, not really mimicking the transition or the line of Sobagiri. So not doing the chase driver responsibilities, not fulfilling them fully, and making some compromises. Now it's going to be up to Mano to lay down the lead run and for Sobagiri to mimic what he's doing. So we're going to see how they fare in the opposite positions.
So the number 16 and 17th place qualifiers respectively, so evenly matched in terms of those aspects of competition. Sobagiri was kind of the shining star in terms of the vehicle aesthetics at Fuji, raising a lot of eyebrows there, and everybody really enjoying the look of his car. But now he's got to do battle here. He's got one lead run in the books. Now it's going to be the chase, but Mano out front looks like we've got to restart.
So the restart light is on this. There's a pole with the number 4 on it. So parking lot number 4, you can see on the screen right now, parking lot number 5. So it's the one just up from that. That's where the restart light is, and there's also a flagger there. He has a red flag. So in case you don't see that really big, bright light, he'll wave the flag and make sure that the drivers do get back to the start line without initiating, so we don't have to do a tire change.
And we are seeing Sobagiri go back to the end of the line to turn around. No sign of a competition timeout, thankfully, so we'll get this battle underway. Second half. Shuichi Mano, 666. Kudai Sobagiri, number 31. Light is triggered. And here we go. Mano out of the chicane. Sobagiri, tip to tail. Initiation. Uh-oh, this time Mano's on the inside, but Sobagiri's going to go into the wall. Ho, ho, ho. That was close right there. Now the run is over, so Sobagiri does not need to finish this run. The lead driver zeroed out. For safety reasons, we do not require the chase driver to finish the run if the lead driver incompletes in front. But Ryan, walk us through that accident there. That got a little bit hairy. He bounced off of the big foam blocks and headed right into the opening of the lower or the upper grid.
Yeah, we did talk about that yesterday, and we were told that it's safe because the concrete's there and all the staff is behind it. So just got a little bit too deep there and ended up into the foam barriers. It seems like his car is totally fine, just some aesthetic damage, but still drivable. Fortunately, I don't think he'll be going much further than this battle, but at least his car won't need to be repaired in a big way.
All right, so we're getting a quick result here. All three judges go in favor of car number 31. Moving on into the top 16 is Kodai Sobogiri. All right, so 2 battles, 2 quick unanimous victors. And our next pair up, you see them there. Ryohei Kitao, car number 111, and Kazuki Hayashi, car number 33. One of 3 members of the Droopy team, the other 2 being the 85 Truenos that you'll see later on. Kitao held our number 1 qualifying spot for about 17 runs yesterday. He started off very early in competition, was one of our newer registrants. He had an 85 that held for quite a while. Coming in at 25th place is Kazuki Hayashi. And final preparations here.
Lights are lighting up, and they've extinguished.
Here we go. First run of this top 32 battle. Kitao initiates. Big angle here. Uh-oh, he's going to get a little bit deep, but he's going to make it through. And then you see a big punctuation and a release of angle there from Hayashi after outside zone 1. And again there at outside zone 2, a reduction of angle. Kitao in the lead position. Not a huge smoke line, but seems to be carrying enough momentum. And Ryan will want to get your take there on the reduction of angle and pretty much stopping drifting there from Hayashi in the chase position.
One would have to assume that Hayashi expected Kitao to go into the foam barriers and stop drifting to avoid any kind of crash there, but he made it through. Hayashi straightened up completely and had to reinitiate, so that's going to be an incomplete from Hayashi in the chase. In the lead position, Kitao made a couple of, maybe a tire off here, tire off there, but overall kept drifting. Didn't incomplete on his own. So Hayashi definitely miscalculated there what was occurring in the lead and what he had to do in his chase position.
All right, so you see the next group of drivers going down. We will be hot gridding down there where you're looking at right now, where the camera is pointing for top 16, but for top 32 and for qualifying, we have the hot grid up in the paddock. So that's why you see groups of drivers going down. I see driver just out of the purview here, Katsuhiro Ueo. He will be coming up in just about 3 battles. But let's finish up this one here from Ryohei Kitao, car number 111, taking on Kazuki Hayashi. At least from Ryan Lantaine's side of things, it's an incomplete for Hayashi, so he's got some work to do here in the lead position.
That's one of the benefits of being in the lead and laying down a really dangerous-looking lead. Maybe the chase is going to think you're going to crash and stop drifting, so you're kind of psyching out that chase driver by being really aggressive.
All right, let's keep it off the foam blocks. Here we go. Hayashi taking the lead this time. Big angle, but he's going to be way on the inside, completely miss outside zone 1. Kitao seemed like he reacted late to that, but Hayashi was really on a shallow line there, much better on outside zone 2. Kitao is starting to fall way back now. Out of the picture here, not making it easy on himself, but Hayashi from the onset really missed that first outside zone, and that seemed to throw Kitao off. Let's take a look at this again, Ryan. Kitao got out of the gate a little bit early there. Looks like he thinks, or he knows that he's got the slower car, but what happened on run number 2?
Well, in terms of the lead car doing what they're supposed to do, Hayashi's not even close to where he's supposed to be. He was a car length, maybe more, inside from outside zone 1. Outside zone 2, he does slightly better, misses the beginning of it, only gets into the box near the latter half of that zone. So not really fulfilling the lead car responsibilities. And on outside zone 1, if you're skipping that zone so aggressively, that's going to put the chase driver at a huge disadvantage in that area, because that is an area where they need to get deep. And if you're kind of shortcutting it there while the chase driver expects you to go wide, that's going to be a really big let's say advantage for the lead driver in terms of proximity. They're going to be driving away from the chase driver. That's what we sometimes consider, trying to get away from the. All right, so it looks like Kitao gets the win. Car number 111, and it was unanimous. It was unanimous.
Another unanimous decision here for car 111. He'll be moving on. So the top 32 bracket starting to fill out here as we will move on to our next 2 drivers. You see the first one there at the line. That is Manabu Fujinaka, car number 888, having a strong performance yesterday into the top 10, qualifying number 9. And, of course, you're going to love this. Yoshitaka Ogane, car 24. It's one of the other RX-7s in the field, so we've got a nice little Mazda RX-7 battle going on here, which should be really fun to watch.
It's going to be a loud one.
It's going to be a brap.
Ogane in practice was doing very well yesterday, but then when he got to qualifying, he just wasn't able to put together all the aspects of a good run and ended up only qualifying in 24th position. So Fujinaka definitely outqualified him by a large margin here. So it's 9th place for Fujinaka, 24th for Ogane. But if Ogane can put together some of the runs that he was doing in practice in tandem today here, he may have an opportunity to knock Fujinaka out. But we have to have them doing well in both the lead and the chase. So Ogane is going to have to be able to mimic what Fujinaka is doing on this first lap of the battle. So let's see how they can fare in their respective positions.
Red light on. When it goes off, they can go. Lead driver needs to wait until the light extinguishes. Chase driver can get out anytime he wants. Here we go, the RX-7 battle underway. Nice little snap there from Fujinaka. Ogane falls in line, keeps it close here through inside clip 1. Nice transition back around, but he's on a little bit of a tight line there on outside zone 2 is Fujinaka. Ogane takes advantage of it right up into the pocket, keeping it close, pushing even further down the hill, and that's a great chase run there and an overall solid battle between Manabu Fujinaka and Yoshitaka Ogane.
We always say that we need a great lead to have a great chase, and in this case, the lead was not that great. There was some definite errors there from Fujinaka in the lead. You can see here he leaves outside zone 1 early, although he was in it at the early part of it. But watch outside zone 2. Missed it entirely. In some cases, not even really close at all to it at the beginning there. But in the chase position, you've got Ogane putting on the pressure, staying close. He had a slight reduction in angle near outside zone 3, but for the most part, put on pressure to Fujinaka throughout the entire run, mimicked what he was doing, and when Ogane went when Fujinaka went offline, Ogane followed him offline and went where he was going, mimicked him, line, angle, and transition as well. So pretty good job from Ogane there. Fujinaka could have been a lot deeper in a couple of those zones, but let's see what Ogane can do in his lead run now.
Second half, they switch things up. Ogane in the lead position. He gets a good jump out of the gate. Fujinaka better keep his eye on him. Nice snap there. Big, long e-brake pull, but he stays pretty tight into that outside zone. Just coming off a bit early. Super tight on inside clip 1. Outside zone 2 is going to be really important. Does he do it better than Fujinaka? Looks like he does. Fujinaka now starting to fall behind, and this looks like that the scales are tipping in the direction of Yoshitaka Ogane.
This might be our first upset of top 32, Ryan. It looked like Ogane did a better job on outside zone 1 of filling that zone. You can see his right rear tire in the box right from beginning to end. So look at that. Did a great job there. That would have been about a 9 maybe on line for that zone right there. Better job on outside zone 2, although he wasn't in it all the way around. He filled a little bit at the beginning, kind of missed the middle, and then got back into it near the end. So good job there in the lead position from Ogane, but Fujinaka in the chase was not really mimicking that well. He seemed like he was off pace, off mimic as well, so not ideal from him.
And the scores are coming again. It's another unanimous decision. Car number 77, Yoshitaka Ogane defeats Manabu Fujinaka, and as you said, our first upset of the afternoon.
Rayo's heading back on track, smoking it all the way down the hill as he does. Batman's S15. And we have another S15 that looks pretty wild as well, but this one's white. Is that GGG on the side? Also a pretty wild-looking body kit. Not as wild as Ueno's, but it's still, there it is. You can see it there with the orange wheels. Pretty wild, pretty wide.
The driver in the lead position at the start line right now, that is Jin Harino. Had a great qualifying yesterday, coming in just outside the top 3 in the number 4 position. So car number 17 looking solid here this weekend. The driver you see warming up in the background there, that is Yusuke Kusaba, car number 938. Very, very close to being knocked out of competition, but was able to slot in his second run to drop him into the 29th position. So this is number 4 and number 29 qualifiers from yesterday. All right, here we go. After this, we'll be more than halfway through the left-hand side of the bracket in the top 32. Yanaguida, Sobagiri, Kitao, and Ogane are now in the top 16. Will it be Harino or Kusaba that joins them? Here we go. Harino blasting out of the gate. There's that 1-2 motion. E-brake pull. He's back on throttle in the zone. Slows it down quite a bit there, but Kusaba does a good job of adjusting. He's going to try to tuck up on the inside here. Harino looking like he's drawing a good qualifying line. Stays deep into outside zone 2. Pushes to outside zone 3. Let's see how he ends up down this final inside clip. And not a bad lead run. Looks like he had a little bit of a reduction in speed on that big, long e-brake pull, Ryan, but seemed that Kusaba made a decent adjustment there. Let's take a look at this one more time.
Kusaba seemed to adjust really well, like you say, to that e-brake pull. So right here as he initiates, pull, 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 off again, but then another pull right there. So he did slow a little bit more than we'd like to see, but Kusaba adjusted nicely, and he took that opportunity to get close to Harino. Here, Harino does a great job on outside zone 2. Kusaba does not do a great job on outside zone 2, not mimicking the line at all, much further inside on that corner, and he didn't even take advantage of that tighter line to get close. You could see that there was still separation from that outside zone 2 area all the way through to the finish line. So like we tell them in the drivers meeting, if you're going to make a compromise somewhere on the track, whether it be line or angle, make that compromise quickly, get back on line, get back to the same angle as the lead driver, and then finish off the run strong. Maybe that little compromise that you made will be less severe than the compromise the other driver has to make in their chase, and you can get the win in that sense. But in this case, he made the compromise and did not take advantage of it.
Here we go. Kusaba in the lead on the second half of this run. Straight line approach. You can see the e-brake pulls from him very clearly there, but he pulls a little bit of a gap against Harino. Nice and tight on that inside clip. Smooth transition back around. Gets into outside zone 2 a little bit late. Harino needs to keep the pressure on here. He had a good lead run, but Kusaba is battling back here. So the scales maybe shifting to Harino in run 1, but maybe back in Kusaba's direction or close to neutral for run number 2. Ryan, what's your take?
Kusaba did a better job in outside zone 1, it looks like. He did have some handbrake pulls, like you said, but look at his line, right on that yellow line. The tire was looking like it was right where it should be going through that zone. Right here, not quite as good in the beginning of outside zone 2, but he did get into it a little bit later. And then looking at how Jin Harino is mimicking just slightly further behind, maybe he did a better job of mimicking what Kusaba was doing throughout the run, despite not being super close. But look at Kusaba's chase. He wasn't super close either, while also making some big compromises on line. So chase to chase, Harino may have the advantage there. Lead to lead, Harino actually pretty similar there. You know, maybe Harino did a better job filling outside zone 2, where Kusaba only filled the latter half of it. So Harino may have the advantage here overall.
Well, you guys are once again on the same page across the board. All 3 judges go with a one more time battle. So battling back there. Ryan, I assume that was your vote as well, right?
1 second.
Well, it is at least a one more time from 2 of the 3 judges. I'll confirm whether. Ryan, did you go one more time?
No, I went with Harino, actually.
Oh, okay.
They both went one more time,
okay.
So I was just asking them quickly about that.
So split decision,
yep.
2 one more times, 1 for Harino, but it will be a one more time majority rules. All right, this ought to be fun. Junji Yamamoto versus Katsuhiro Ueno. Ueno interestingly enough, did not qualify well, but don't let that fool you at all. Yamamoto did qualify pretty well, just outside the top 10 in the 13th position. So we will revisit the one more time, but let's get to this one right here. It's going to be exciting. Yamamoto is going to take the lead. You can expect...
Oh, a restart already.
I was going to say you can expect Ueo not to give him an inch. And that car, as you mentioned, Ryan, in the opening, one of the smokiest for sure.
Yes.
The Valinos produce a lot of really thick white smoke, and
he's on throttle so much that they don't have a chance not to make smoke.
Yeah. We saw a huge variance in the smokiness of runs yesterday, and it wasn't necessarily correlated with how well drivers did per se, but we do see massive plumes of smoke from Ueo, which is, of course, a strong indication of utilizing that horsepower to its full effect.
We did get confirmation that the lead driver in this battle here, Yamamoto, did jump the light, so there was no cone hit. He just left the line too early and got that restart. So he has 1 strike. We know that 3 strikes equals an incomplete. Hopefully he does not get 2 more. It has happened, but hopefully not today.
All right, so here we go. First restart is behind us. Let's get a clean one here. Yamamoto gets a good jump. Ueo letting him get away a little bit. Got to wonder if that's part of his strategy. Now he's starting to close the door here. But maybe a little bit of a miscalculation from Ueo, because he's going to now require the last half. Oh, no, and Ueo falls out of drift there. Very uncharacteristic from Ueo. You got to wonder if there was something wrong with the vehicle there. He was not in play, Ryan, and it started from the start line. Yamamoto got a big jump and pretty much kept it through the majority of the course.
Yeah, it looks like an error on his part from the start line. He did not have proximity at all. Should have been way closer. And if he had, he would have taken advantage of Yamamoto's errors. Yamamoto did not fill outside zone 1. Did a better job on outside zone 2. But you can see here it looked like Ueo was maybe trying to catch up. Got a little frazzled there, and maybe it was a misshift, straightened up. Then it'll be an incomplete from me anyway for Ueo. Definitely stopped drifting there where he should not have been straightening up. Clearly not supposed to straighten anywhere, but that was too severe to overlook. And that'll be an incomplete for him from my side anyway.
All right, so pretty sizable deficit, at least at first pass, for Katsuhiro Ueo. He'll now take the lead. Here we go. Second half of the battle, Ueo blasting down the front straight. Straight line initiation. He's back on throttle towards the end of the zone. Yamamoto does not want to give him an inch, and he's staying in it. He almost makes a mistake, slides to the outside, and oh no, he overshoots outside zone 2. And what was a big advantage for him has now gone in the opposite direction. He loses drift here at outside zone 2 and then unwinds it before the finish line. So Ryan, walk us through what happened here. This may have been a blessing for Katsuhiro Ueo.
Yeah, look at the way Ueo blasted up the start from the start to outside zone 1. He fills outside zone 1 really well. He is on throttle all over the track. Look at the amount of smoke, the aggressive driving, and he knows that if he does that kind of run in the lead position, it's going to be hard to follow because he's laying down a really great aggressive lead run. And in the chase, Yamamoto is not able to match what he's doing, over rotates at outside zone 2, straightens up, goes essentially 4 wheels off there. Definitely an incomplete from him. So let's watch the overhead. Look at where Ueo is putting his car. Great job on outside zone 1. Draws a nice arc to inside clip 1. Rotates the car nicely for outside zone 2. Gets through there really, really well. And looks like we've got a big advantage from Ueo in the lead position.
All right, Ryan, so it is unanimous. All 3 judges go in the direction of Katsuhiro Ueo. He avoids disaster, and he gets a lucky break here by an over-aggressive Junji Yamamoto, who had pretty well secured a strong advantage after run number 1, but Ueo is the definitive winner on run number 2 because of the incomplete by Yamamoto.
Right, let me make it clear there. In that situation, since they both incompleted on their chase runs, we just scratch the chase runs altogether. We go to the leads. Who did a better lead run? And in that case, Ueo did a much better lead run. You could tell it was way more aggressive, way more precise. And that's the difficult part here, is being precise while being that aggressive. That's what the guys had a lot of trouble with in qualifying yesterday. Kanta Yanaguida was able to be aggressive but be precise as well. That's what gave him that number 1 qualifying spot. So good job for Ueo there. He didn't give up, went flat out, got the win.
Got away with a mistake that he can now think about and improve going into the top 16. He'll now be able to go back to the pit, enjoy the halftime break, and get ready for top 16 opening ceremonies, which we'll see after the halftime break. But now we will get the safety car back and repositioned, and we will revisit this one more time battle between Jin Urino and Yusuke Kusaba. 2 judges going in favor of one more time. 1 judge going to Urino. The number 4 qualifier seemingly with the advantage on his side. Here we go. Urino 1-2 initiates. E-brake pull, lets it float out. Nice job on outside zone 1. Kusaba again was on the inside. Now Urino deeper into outside zone 2. Kusaba gets a little bit held up. Now he falls back a little bit. Urino this time around making his lead run look a little bit more solid and complete, with Kusaba maybe not having the same oomph that he had in his chase run in keeping that pressure on.
One of the things we talk about a lot amongst ourselves is drivers using the decel areas to catch up to the lead driver. And in this case, we don't have severe decel areas on this track, but it looks like Kusaba is trying to catch up in a couple of areas where you know that the lead driver is going to be kind of slowing down a little bit, and that's one of the areas right there. Outside zone 2, you know there's going to be a little checkup on speed there a little bit, and Kusaba was still closing in, kind of had to get on the brakes, over-rotated a little bit, and then fell off again in the chase position. So not really timing his movements well. He's not mimicking what the lead driver is doing, and he's not anticipating where that lead driver is going to be going, accelerating and slowing, and it's causing him to have problems in the chase.
All right, so now switching things up, Kusaba will take the lead. This time Urino really needs to keep the pressure on here. Nose to tail, good initiation there by Kusaba. He also does outside zone 1 pretty well. Stays in it deep. Urino this time much closer to the back bumper. Kusaba a little bit of a hold up there into outside zone 2, but Urino adjusts. He's right on the right rear tire of Kusaba. He's on a tighter line, and he gets around both of them through that final inside clip.
Great job from Jin Urino chasing Kusaba. Kusaba also did a pretty good job in the lead. He got himself into outside zone 1 nicely. Got the tire right on that yellow line pretty much all the way around. Did a great job of accelerating and decelerating in the right position, but missed outside zone 2, unfortunately. Kind of slowed down there near the end of outside zone 2 because he had the wrong arc. Didn't fill the beginning of outside zone 2 and started to go wide near the end of it. Now to avoid going off, slowed down a little bit there, and then got back on throttle. But Jin Urino was not fazed by him at all, and he ended up being nice and close all the way through. So Jin Urino gets the win, number 17, after that one more time battle.
Unanimous victory there, all 3 judges in agreement this time around. So after the one more time battle, we see Urino battle back. That should give him some confidence there going into the top 16.
He's going to need it going up against Ueo. We saw what Ueo was capable of in that previous battle, so we're going to have to see Urino on his game to outdrive Ueo.
All right, so gridding the next pair. An incredibly important battle for the driver on the left-hand side of your screen. Koichi Yamashita, the winner of Fuji Speedway just a few weeks ago, taking on Akihiko Hirashima, car number 67. He was our 28th place qualifier. Yamashita, number 5. He has had a strong season so far, and he wants to continue it right here.
The drone just fell down. Did you see that?
I did see that. That was cool.
Hope it's okay.
All right, here we go. Yamashita out of the gate. Hiroshima keeping it pretty close and coming up. Nice job floating it in there, but the front end washes out. A big mistake there from Hiroshima. Meanwhile, out front, Incredible lead run here from Yamashita. He fills that outside zone 2 and 3 without too much of a punctuation or adjustment, leaving the wall from outside zone 3 to inside clip 1. But Ryan, obviously our attention pretty much going to be focused on the big mistake from Hiroshima in the chase position after outside zone 1.
You're right, Ryan. The mistake that Hiroshima made there could have a big implication in this battle for him. So look at Yamashita getting the car to angle. Could have been deeper in outside zone 1, but that's where Hiroshima straightened up, had to reinitiate. In the lead position, Yamashita doing a pretty decent job in outside zone 2, filled it mostly from beginning to end. And then you can see Hiroshima just trying to catch up in the chase position. Yamashita doing a pretty great job in the lead. So definitely Hiroshima is going to be at a disadvantage right now. He's going to have to lay down a really great lead run. He's going to have to pull a Ueo here. He's going to have to really psych out Yamashita and hope that Yamashita makes a mistake in the chase. And when he does his lead, he's going to have to make sure his lead is better than what Yamashita put together. That's the only way that he can really have an advantage here going into this next part of the battle.
And you never say never in drifting, but Yamashita is a seasoned veteran in the chase position. He, I think, has the advantage here because he can dictate the pace that he wants to run, knowing that there's an incomplete from Hiroshima. He's going to keep it somewhat conservative here. Keep his eye. Oh, once again, same thing, same part of the course. Okay, the run is over. Yamashita automatically gets the win here because it's 2 incompletes for Hiroshima.
And that's the second car that tried to get over there to that Trailblazer inside that parked area.
And you see the flagger shutting down the run as Yamashita comes over the crossover there. So very odd from Hiroshima. Same place in both the lead and chase position.
That could be a symptom of a very gripped up car again, you know, trying to get in there and trying to go really deep in the zone. And if you lift a little too much, trying to get the car to float, it doesn't want to float. It just grips and wants to go straight.
So let's take a look at it again. Ryan, tell us what your impression. I mean, obviously we know what happened, but
yeah, you can see here, gets the car to angle, and just it does look like it's just
up.
very, very grippy, you know, and that's the symptom of a lot of cars these days. Everybody tries to go faster and faster, more grip, more grip. Sometimes that is not the way to go because the car becomes undrivable. It's just not the kind of setup that can be adapted. The driver can adapt to the lead driver, or in this case, even put down a lead run. But typically it becomes a problem in the chase position where the lead driver goes a little bit slower maybe, or does something that causes the chase driver to have to make a slight correction, and then at that point when they get off throttle, it just grips up, no more drift.
A little bit too much trance.
Yeah, it does happen.
All right, so our last battle of the left-hand side of the bracket, Mazakazu Hashi taking on Kazuya Matsukawa. This is yet one of the other members of the Droopy team. And Hashi, the better of the 2 qualifiers, coming in at 12th place yesterday. Sending out our next group of drivers, which include 3-time champion Andrew Gray. He will be our first battle on the right-hand side of the bracket. There's Hashi. You can see Matsukawa in the background, car number 99. He'll be our chase driver. Car number 84 had an 84 in qualifying. That's what kept him pretty high overall. And he will take the lead here. Last battle, left-hand side of the bracket. Here we go.
Valino versus Dunlop. The Team Droopy guys have been having a couple of issues getting around the track. We've seen it in practice, a lot of spins. So hopefully we see Matsukawa here able to hold it together.
Hashi, good jump out of the gate. Matsukawa burning it up. Wow, very close to a brick the wall there, and he's going to make contact with it, but he's going to stay in it. It's going to be a big mistake. That was a very close initiation, scary almost from our perspective, how close he was to the brick wall and the K-wall on that initiation, but he pushed a little bit too hard there, Ryan, and I'm sure that a lot of your attention and focus is going to be on outside zone 1.
Yeah, it'll come down to whether or not that was an unchaseable lead from him. So let's watch here in the video. He did hit the 2-cone, which is pretty wild. It's only like a foot away from the concrete barrier there. He does stay on throttle, but does make a pretty big correction in the lead position, which may have caused the chase driver there to make that correction as well. So I'll have to have a talk here with the other guys and see what they're feeling about this.
Yeah, it does seem like he was on an arc that was not natural after he hit that big foam pad, and it looks like it does pinch off Masakawa. Now, Masakawa is on a tighter line there. He should be following the lead driver, so you could say that in some instance perhaps it's shared. But, Ryan, what did you take away from the other two judges?
Well, we kind of talked about the whole shared fault thing. It looked like the Matsukawa was not in the right position in the chase, while the lead driver also made an error. So it could be a shared fault thing, but I'd like to watch that drone shot again, as we missed it because we were talking to one another, but we'll get it again. Here it is. So we want to look at the attitude of the lead car, what he was doing, how bad the slowdown was. But yeah, you can see that it's definitely two errors that combined into one big error from both of them. So
it's a line that's like this and a line that's like that.
Yep. It's it's like the letter A, and then the one on the inside really
a tighter arc.
Yeah. Not really where he's supposed to be either. So not really mimicking what the lead driver is doing. So that could be a shared fault on that one, as they both were not doing what they were supposed to in their respective positions.
All right, so let's pretend. Let's clear our minds, and that means let's just focus on this run. If it is a shared fault, then it would be who did better in this run.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Matsukawa in the lead, Hashi chasing him down. Both drivers know they cannot leave anything on the table. Nice little snap there from Matsukawa. Hashi trying to close the door, coming over the center section. Nice inside clip by Matsukawa. He's on a much tighter line on outside zone 2. Hashi follows him as well. Now he's keeping it close in the chase position. Oh no, but he's going to unwind it and nearly make contact, so getting aggressive. But the aggressiveness cost him because the line was shallow and he had to pull out. So let's take a look at this once again.
Yeah, looking at what Matsukawa did in the lead position, he wasn't doing too bad at all. But looking at the chase, Hashi definitely put himself in the wrong position. Not really getting his car where it should be, and I think that's going to be what seals it for him. You can see here that he's getting way ahead of where he should be. He actually gets slightly ahead of Matsukawa there and just has nowhere to go. Gets himself blocked, essentially, by his own driving. So it is confirmed Matsukawa, in our car number 99, does get the win.
Unanimous decision there for car 99, Kazuya Matsukawa.
And that is our third upset of the top 32 so far. So 21st position just beat the 12th position.
All right, so now we move on. We are halfway through the top 32, which means we take a traditional 3-minute commercial break. This is the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship. We are up here at round 4 at the beautiful Okuibuki Ski and Snowboard Park. We'll take a quick commercial break and come right back and finish the top 32.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる止まる止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。
The brightness, called brilliant. Valenti.
クオリティオブジャパニーズクラフトマンシップブリッド。
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Gaspo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Kenda。
伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮、チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、オグラレーシングクラッチ ORC。
モティ
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる、止まる、止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば
横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。
Japan Championship, round 4 at Okuibuki Ski and Snowboard Park. Thank you all the fans that are joining us from around the world, especially those that are watching on Facebook. We got superfan Julian Simmons out there, keeping it real in the chat. We always appreciate your analysis and your extreme education on the sport. So thank you very much for joining us once again. I don't think there's a live stream that we've done that I haven't seen you in there. All right, so we have made our way halfway through the top 32. We are now on the right-hand side of the bracket. The driver on the left is three-time champion Andrew Gray. He's going to be taking on Tomohiro Murayama.
But
Or not.
Murayama just called a competition timeout.
Okay.
So
Competition timeout, for those unfamiliar, is the one and only opportunity you have to call what equates to 5 minutes of extra preparatory time to work on your vehicle in the case of some kind of damage or repair that needs to be made either prior to or during your competition run.
And he is still in the burnout box, broken. He's waiting for a tow truck to come get him because the car broke. You can see it just beyond the tower back there, or the arch. He's kind of stuck in the burnout box, broken, so we're going to have to wait for the tow truck to go get him. And I guess we're going to skip to the next battle, Kenji Yamada versus Yuichi Amagai.
All right, so that is official. We are seeing the tow truck go off in the foreground there, which means that that is not very good news for Tomohiro Murayama. We'll have to wait for the tow truck to get down off of the competition course to assess what's going on. Typically how that works is once the competition timeout is called, if the vehicle is nowhere near their pit area, the tow truck or whatever vehicle is needed can take them to their hot pit area, and then the 5 minutes would start as soon as they get hands on the vehicle. So that does mean that we will move Andrew Gray off of the start line. You can see the starter signaling to him now. And that's right, Ryan, we'll be moving on to our next battle, which is our 15th and 18th place qualifier. Kenji Yamada, car 888, versus Yuichi Amagai, car number 19.
So the issue becomes right now, Ryan, that the next two cars need to do their little burnouts in the burnout box. But the tow truck and the car being towed are both in the burnout box. So we're going to have a bit of a delay here as we wait for the tow truck to put that car on a flatbed, get it out of the way, and then the other two cars can start doing their burnouts, and then we can get the next battle started.
All right, well, this might be a good time for me to drink some green tea and eat some crispy Oreos, maybe down a few high chews. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, Ryan.
All right.
What flavor are you rocking over there right now?
This is orange. This is grape.
So these are a different type of high chews. I'm used to the ones in the package that are square.
Yeah, these are the singular package.
Yeah, okay. The package within a package.
Package within a package.
So popular here in Japan.
So remaining drivers on the right-hand side of the bracket that you may be familiar with, you saw Andrew Gray. We've got Tetsuya Kume and Monkey Ito, our next battle up. Then we'll move on to Australian driver Matty Hill. He'll be taking on Tadahiro Fukada. We've got our current series leader, Wataru Masuyama, is going to be taking on Benjamin Chiam, the lone Singaporean in competition this weekend. As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Shang Nian actually had to attend to a personal matter, so he is not here this weekend. And we do know that it should be a one-time thing, so he'll be back for Okayama. And then after that, we'll move on to Kazuhiro Kubo and Daisuke Hara. Shinji Minowa, our number 6 qualifier, taking on Hiroki Vito. And then our final battle of the top 32, Hayato Miyoshi versus Yukiko Ishiguro. So depending on what time it takes for us, that's unbelievable. Look, Mystery Wada's in the back.
Yep.
That guy you see down on the screen, that's actually the owner of FD Japan. And the reason why I'm making light of it is because it's unbelievable the amount of work that he does for somebody that's in his position. He's down there moving a car.
Yep.
He came up here, now that we have time. Usually what happens is the U.S. crew that flies in, we fly in on Thursday morning, so we get in about like 5 a.m. in the morning. He doesn't send somebody to pick us up. He picks us up himself. And then he will drop us off at a hotel. We'll sleep for a little bit. Then we usually, depending on where the venue is, if it's within 4 or 5 hours, we'll drive. He personally drives us those 4 or 5 hours. We usually do truck stop ramen along the way, and then we get to the venue, and then we start setting the venue up. So laying blocks, painting, all that kind of stuff. Not this time. He actually came up here on Monday by himself, laid all the blocks by himself, and painted the whole course by himself, which was after he had been racing in an 86 Cup the day before. And then when he got done, he was a bit too tired to drive home, so he left his car in Nagoya in a parking lot, took the Shinkansen all the way back to Tokyo, and then and then we took the Shinkansen up to Nagoya to pick up his car, and he drove us up here again. So the guy's unbelievable. You think about work ethic. First one up, last one to leave. It'll be the same thing here tonight. We tell him to chill and take it easy, and he's got a lot of people working for him that that can help him out. No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
He's the hardest working man anywhere he goes. He comes to Formula Drift in the U.S. and starts painting the track before we have the chance to sometimes.
That's true. That's true. one of the other things that he's done, which just absolutely blows my mind, is he comes to pretty much every FD USA event. And the reason why he comes is because he wants to see how the FD USA events are run, and he wants to try to mimic that as best he can here. So that's one of the reasons why they implemented the live stream. It's one of the reasons why they started using drone. It's one of the reasons why they started using the broader outlines of our competition rules, the stuff that applies here from a technical perspective.
He also judges the event while it's going on behind us, makes all of his notes and compares his judging to our judging, discusses it afterwards with us to make sure he understands where we're coming from, gives us some of his input as well after the event, just to let us know how he feels about how the competition went, how the judging should have been or could have been, or where he agreed with what we were doing. Just an amazing man. Does take us to the best restaurants all the time, everywhere we go, especially in Tokyo.
Yeah, no, what will happen tonight, predictably, and I'm not just trying to pump him up because he's. I'm being sincere here, obviously. You know that, Ryan.
This is many years of us and living through this amazing treatment from him and seeing his work ethic. So
yeah,
I know what you're saying is authentic for sure.
What's going to happen tonight is we're all going to be done. We're all going to be looking for something to do. We're going to pack up. We sleep in the dorm up here. And he's going to be working down here. He's going to be sweating. He's not going to take a shower. He's not going to have time to take a shower. He's going to make sure that we get in the car, and he's going to drive us 4.5 hours, 5 hours back to Tokyo tonight. And sure enough, along the way, we'll hit some amazing restaurant or a really good ramen spot or whatever. And then tomorrow morning when we wake up, he'll be the first one to greet us to make sure that we have something to do before we head to the airport.
Absolutely. We have to go have Ichiran before we go to the airport. And I'm only flying out Thursday, so I'm going to go hang out with you guys tomorrow and then see what else I can get up to on my own while I'm here. But, yeah, I love the routine that he's built for us and that we end up going from place to place with him. He's going to entertain us tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be explore Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll explore an area we've already explored, but potentially only years ago, and we're going to go back to that area, and he's going to show us around, buy some amazing food, and make our way to the airport later in the day.
All right, so it looks like we finally have the vehicle off course there. That is Tomohiro Murayama. His competition timeout will ensue as soon as the vehicle gets to the ground and his team can get hands on the car. In the meanwhile, we've begun getting the next two drivers in the burnout box, which will be Kenji Yamada and Yuichi Amagai. Well, if you're joining us from somewhere in the United States or somewhere in North America, what will happen after we finish the top 32, we'll have about an hour and a half to 2 hour halftime break here, which will be off air, and then we'll be back for opening ceremonies and the top 16. If you need the times on that, you can find it on the Formula Drift Japan and Formula Drift USA Instagram page, and also on our other social media channels. But I'll give it to you and we'll put it up on the graphic as well. In Los Angeles, it's going to be 21:30, so that's 9:30, right?
Yep.
Yeah. 9:30 is going to be our top 16 opening ceremonies. All right, here we go. Let's rock and roll. Kenji Yamada, car 888. Yuichi Amagai, car 19, just finishing up in the burnout box. Both drivers were qualified about mid-pack yesterday, 15 and 18 respectively. As Amagai finishes up warming his tires.
So Murayama is getting to his pit area. They're taking the car off. They're going to start working on it. Apparently he broke a lower arm in the burnout box, lower suspension arm. You could see that he was having a hard time turning the car to try to get it onto the tow truck there earlier. So it's should be a relatively simple fix, but it's an odd place for it to break. I guess it's better there than while sliding sideways up towards a big wall up here at 60 miles an hour. So it just seems like a very slow speed maneuver that he was doing there for it to break.
All right, we are underway after a little bit of some downtime due to the vehicle malfunction of Murayama. Let's get this battle underway. Both drivers ready, lights being cued. And here we go. Bit of a jump there by Amagai, which he's allowed to do as a chase driver. The perfect style driver tucking in behind, falling back a little bit here. Yamada on that inside line does not fill outside zone 1. Amagai trying to close the door as you see Yamada taking out that inside clip. He does a much better job on outside zone 2. Amagai now starting to close it. Oh, but the front end washes out and struggling in the chase position, but the lead run from Yamada seemed to have some mistakes as well, especially that first outside zone.
You're right, Ryan. Some mistakes from both drivers, but it looked like Amagai's mistake was pretty severe in the chase in the outside zone 3 area. So looking at the lead driver there, missed outside zone 1, kind of got the tire near the inside line, but not really filling it. Same deal for outside zone 2, dipped the tire in it very briefly, but look at Amagai right here. Comes straight, drives, and has to reinitiate. That could potentially be an incomplete from Amagai in the chase. But in the lead position there, Yamada did not do a great job either. Could have been deeper in outside zone 1, could have filled zone 2 better as well. Didn't do too bad through outside zone 3 to finish, but the major point, of course, is Amagai's pretty serious straightening in the chase.
All right, switching things up here. Amagai now in the lead position. Yamada chasing him down, and the light is off. Here we go. Through the chicane is Amagai. Gets his 1-2 step there. Initiates, does a much better job on outside zone 1. Back bumper comes unlatched, but he's center punching that inside clip just at the edge of outside zone 2. Let's see how he pushes the outside zone 3. Yamada keeping him honest here, not letting him run away, and does get close there towards the end. So taking a look at it one more time, Ryan, give us your evaluation of that second run.
Well, it's a shame that Amagai had that problem in the chase because his lead run, look at this initiation, snaps nicely to angle, fills outside zone 1 really nicely, did a great job there. He did unfortunately hit that inside clip 1, but good job on zone 2, didn't fill it fully, but did a much better job than Yamada did in his lead. Unfortunately, Amagai with that pretty big deficit on his chase run is going to have a hard time overcoming that mistake, as Yamada did a pretty good follow there. He didn't really have a lot of compromises. He was on the same line, making angle as well. So here we have our results coming up now.
And all 3 judges unanimous go to Kenji Yamada, car 888. He defeats Yuichi Amagai, car number 19. He is out of competition.
So I'm just hearing on that competition timeout, they have 3 minutes remaining, and we're hoping that they can get that part changed out. They're working hard on it, but 3 minutes remaining.
All right, so we've got our next battle underway in just a second here. The first driver up on the start line is Tetsuya Kume, our number 7 qualifier. He's going to be taking on Manki Ito, qualified 26th.
We did just get information that Murayama, the one that took the competition timeout, it wasn't an arm that broke, it was the knuckle itself. So he only has about 2.5 minutes maybe left of that competition timeout, so he's got to hustle and get that fixed as soon as possible.
All right, the MCR Factory Valino driver on the left-hand side, Tetsuya Kume.
Kume's been laying down some great runs. In practice, we've watched him be very aggressive and pretty precise as well. You can see there he qualified 7th yesterday. Hopefully he can hold it together today in competition here and keep that good driving up.
Drivers ready, drone ready. And here we go. A little bit of a jump there from Ito. And Kume, nice little snap there. Lets it float, but he's a little bit short on that inside or that outside zone. Ito following his line pretty well. Now he's going to tuck up a little bit on the inside as Kume accelerates and moves away from Ito. Second half of the run, pretty strong there in terms of dissipating the proximity that Ito was starting to get on outside zone 2. So pretty clean run overall. Mistakes on both sides. So let's take a look at this again.
Kume taking chances in outside zone 2. Ripped his bumper off on the wall, tearing up those banners. See that initiation? Pretty decent initiation, but not really placing the car as wide as he'd like to there in outside zone 1. Watch him here. Little rub on the wall, almost ripped that banner off, but he did take the bumper off. Did a good job in outside zone 2, and that's where Ito did start to fall off. Not really matching the speed, the pace through there, and not really able to match the line either. So big deficit for Ito in terms of the chase responsibilities through that area. Unfortunately, it's not going to be ideal from him, but he's going to have to lay down a better lead than Kume did. So that means he's got an opportunity in zone 1. He can go deeper there because Kume did not go super deep. In outside zone 2, he's going to have to go deep because Kume did. He went deep enough to rip his bumper off and not affect his run. You know, it was just enough to kind of grab that little banner on the wall. So he's going to have to make sure that he's precise in the lead position. Kume, on the other hand, needs to do what the lead driver is doing. So good proximity and good mimic.
All right, so an opportunity for both drivers here to make a point of difference. One last track worker getting off course here to secure a couple of loose items that came off with that wall hit. It looks like we are pretty much clear to go. Watch the light.
While we're waiting, Ryan, it turns out that Murayama did not make his competition timeout, so Andy Gray will move on in that battle.
All right, so some news there before we get to this. Here it is. Ito initiates big long e-brake pull, and he's way inside, so he did not do what he needed to do there to make a point of difference on that first outside zone. He's even shallower here on outside zone 2. And look at Kume keeping the pressure on. Unwinds a little bit of angle, but the aggression is there. And it looks like that is going to be more than enough to get the job done. Ryan, what do you think here on run number 2?
I agree with you, Ryan. He did a great job in the chase position. Kume positioned his car the way he should. He didn't take any unnecessary chances in the lead position. Just as you said, Ito did not better what Kume did. So you can see he was way off in outside zone 1. And outside zone 2, no better. So he did not better or even match what Kume did in the lead. So he's definitely at a deficit lead to lead. Outside zone 3 here even, he's off the wall considerably. So lead to lead, Kume for sure. Chase position, Kume did an awesome job of matching what Ito was doing, even though Ito was not doing what he was supposed to do. So Kume adjusted, adapted, and did a great job in the chase position.
Lightning bolt to the right or to the left? Bing! Tetsuya Kume, car number 88, unanimous across the board. He moves on. He'll be facing the winner of this next battle, as we also see the next group of drivers head out onto the track. The next battle is Matthew Hill taking on Tadahiro Fukada. Hill had a pretty good qualifying session yesterday, ended in 10th position, so strong performance from him. Fukada, a little bit outside the norm for him, 23rd. So this still is going to be a tough battle for both drivers here, as now we will get this one underway. Matty Hill representing Australia. Tadahiro Fukada here from Japan.
We mistakenly said that Matty Hill was from New Zealand yesterday. We apologize for that oversight, but we have rectified the situation today.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed.
Indeed.
It's a scourge on us.
One of those countries down there in the South Pacific, I don't know.
Careful. All right, here we go. Matty Hill will take the lead against Tadahiro Fukada. Gets a good jump. Straight line approach from Hill. Snaps it to the left-hand side. And gets a great outside zone 1. Beautiful execution there. Very smooth drifting into that second outside zone for Matty Hill. But Fukada is keeping the pressure on from that second outside zone. Here goes Hill. Puts on the blasters and moves ahead. Just taps that inside clip, but overall, one of the better lead runs I think we've seen, Ryan, because it was fairly complete. He got that first outside zone, pretty good in the second outside zone, and seemed fairly smooth and consistent throughout.
Yeah, really smooth run from Matty Hill in the lead here. Look at his initiation. Could have been a little snappier, but did a great job rotating the angle, getting to outside zone 1, filling it nicely. Tight on inside clip 1, gets in the box at outside zone 2, gets out of it a little bit early and kind of gets back in near the end there. But great job from Matty Hill in the lead. In the chase, Fukada, he's there. He's not really putting a lot of pressure on. He's more or less matching what Matty Hill's doing in the lead, just not putting the pressure on that you'd like to see, but didn't do anything wrong necessarily in the chase. You know, he was pretty much matching the line, the angle, just not with the amount of proximity you'd like to see. So Fukada's got his work cut out for him now. He's going to have to fill outside zone 1 as well as Matty Hill or better. And then he's going to have to do, he does have an opportunity there in outside zone 2 to better what Matty Hill did. So if he fills it from the beginning to the end, he will have an advantage for that one specific area there. But he's going to have to be smooth. He's going to have to be pretty aggressive through the run to match what Matty Hill just did with the smoothness that Matty Hill just exhibited.
Second half of the battle underway here. Fukada out of the gate. Matty Hill's going to want to keep him close. Good initiation there. Fukada fills that outside zone, but Hill is right there door to door, keeping the pressure on, just tapping that inside clip. Now coming up on the inside. Good line right there following Fukada is Matthew Hill. And really good execution overall. Nicely done there in the chase position. Fukada not too shabby, but really a lot of the tension seemed to be on Matthew Hill, not letting him get away, matching the line and angle. Ryan, what's your take on run number 2?
Yeah, this is only the second time we've seen Matty Hill in competition, and he's proving to be pretty strong. So look at Fukada does a decent job on outside zone 1. In fact, Matty Hill's right there behind him, but Fukada misses outside zone 2 altogether, and that's going to be, I think, his biggest downfall in the lead position. You can see that he had a little bit less angle there leaving that zone, but Matty Hill is right on him, putting on the pressure and matching line and angle as well. So Matty Hill is really exhibiting that lead and chase responsibilities and showing that he's kind of mastered them both in adapting to a lead driver that is not doing everything they should be doing.
And quickly, the results swing to the right for Matthew Hill, car number 96. He moves out of the top 32 by defeating Tadahiro Fukada, one of the veterans of Formula Drift Japan.
That was a good battle. It was not to say anything bad about what Fukada did. He was doing a good job, just not as good as Matty Hill, right? Sometimes as you get paired up in a battle, you can do, like a 90-point run, but if that other guy's doing a 95-point run, it's going to be hard to beat it. But it just comes down to the luck of the draw sometimes. And unfortunately, Fukada doing a decent lead and chase, it wasn't terrible, just didn't have the advantage there because Matty Hill was just doing that much better.
Right. Well, we see our 3-time champ at the start line, Andrew Gray. We heard from you, Ryan, earlier that the driver, Tomohiro Murayama, was not able to make his competition timeout. He's out of competition. That means that this will be a bye run for Andrew Gray. And I don't know if this is good or bad for Andrew. I think
I hear what you're saying, Ryan.
What some of the things you're talking about in terms of the relative inconsistencies that we saw from Gray. Is this another practice run for him, and is it helpful, or would it have been better for him to face somebody in head-to-head competition to get the juices flowing in that sense? See, there you go.
Well, it was a good run from start to almost finish.
Yeah.
He did a much better job on this run that we've seen from him over the weekend so far. He filled outside zone 1, filled outside zone 2, got through 3 really nicely, and it just stalled up there at the finish line. But overall, that was, I'd have to say, the best run I've seen from him all weekend. So I know what you mean by, you know, maybe not having a battle is going to put him at a disadvantage when he goes up against Yamada in the top 16. But I think that he seems pretty comfortable in his car, and it looks like he knows what he's doing here today and has figured out this track.
Halfway through the right-hand side of the bracket, which means we are 3/4 of the way done in the top 32. Our next battle up is an extremely important one in the context of the overall championship, and it is in no sense a gimme. Benjamin Chiam struggled yesterday in qualifying. He came in at 30th place, but we have seen him be a very strong, fast, and aggressive driver in this 2019 championship season. So he's going to be taking on our current series points leader, Wataru Masuyama, who has been fairly open with his aspirations to make it over to the United States and compete in Formula Drift stateside. In fact, he was in Seattle walking around. May not have noticed him if you were not a fan of FD Japan, but those that did know knew that he was there. But this is not a gimme by any stretch of the imagination. Masuyama has certainly come on very strong this year and really improved in his overall game, especially in the head-to-head matchups. He's known for being an incredible lead driver, but Benjamin Chiam is fast and aggressive. Here we go. Masuyama, nice initiation right into that outside zone. Oh, and it pops out of gear.
Definitely lead car's mistake in that situation. Looks like a mechanical issue, perhaps. He's still not on throttle. The car's just kind of rolling through.
Watch the rear wheels here. You're going to see as soon as he gets back on throttle, it stops immediately. It looks like it may have just popped out of gear or something, but
no, I think it's worse than that, Ryan. You can see it. The car, the way it jerked as he was back on throttle, it looks like he broke something there. Could be transmission, could be differential, could be axle, could be.
Yeah, as soon as he got back on throttle, it basically stopped. So
yeah, you could see the car snap back. It wasn't a slow.
Kind of did like a
jerking motion. Yeah. So that's definitely something broken. We've got the tow vehicle out here that is going to yank him off the track, I'm presuming. And we'll see what happens here as soon as we get him into the paddock area and we can get Kevin looking at his car, figure out what's broken, and we'll give you whatever information we get as soon as we get it.
Well, let's walk through the scenarios very briefly, Ryan, until we get called to a commercial. I'm not sure if we will or not. But so it's an incomplete, most likely for Masuyama. I know you said it was, and I'm sure the other two judges are going to go assess fault. Yeah. And that means that if he's sitting with an incomplete going into his chase run, assuming that he's able to get to the chase run, that would require an incomplete from Benjamin Chiam. So we're nowhere near that just yet, but as we mentioned coming into the battle, how important this was for the overall championship lead. This would mean that if he gets knocked out in the top 32, he most likely will either give up his championship lead or be very close to giving it up, depending on what happens with Koichi Yamashita, who's already into the top 16, and Andrew Gray, who's already into the top 16. So really interesting times here for the championship chase. And we are getting called to a commercial break. So let us assess the situation, get this driver off course. We'll be back here to finish up this run along with the remaining battles in the top 32 at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship here at Okuibuki Ski and Snowboard Park.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる止まる止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。 Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ
The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. ブリッド
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Ospo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
剣だ
伝統と革新小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチオグラレーシングクラッチ ORC
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
Here, but with no real change in the on-track conditions here, Ryan. The vehicle of Masuyama is finally starting to make its way up, but what we heard down from the track staff is that the rear wheels are completely locked up. Actually, you can see right now, if you look down and you look at the vehicle, look at the left rear wheel, it is completely locked. It will not move. And he did leak a little bit of fluid on the course there, so as you purported, it is definitely a bigger issue than originally suspected.
And it's odd that the wheels will roll in reverse,
But not
they
forward.
won't go forward. Interesting. Yeah, so we're going to try to get this off the track here. We're going to get it jacked up, slid over. We do have some go jacks we could put under those rear wheels, but they just couldn't get the jack underneath of it until they got it halfway up onto the tow truck here, so they're trying to get it jacked up now. And yeah, of course, we do have a little bit of an oil spill as well, so they're going to try to get that cleaned up while we're doing this also. When it rains, it pours, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. I like when we come back from commercial break and then we're ready to go. Not when we come back from commercial break and we're still here.
Yeah.
So bummer for Masuyama.
Yeah, that looks like maybe one of those things that can't be fixed in 5 minutes, but
yeah.
I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know. It just looks pretty severe.
Well, this definitely puts a big predicament on him and his team to think about what to do here. Obviously, they're going to want to utilize the competition timeout, but is it a futile exercise, so to speak, or is it a possibility that they can actually get something done? All three of you guys have assessed fault to Masuyama, so he is sitting on an incomplete, meaning that Benjamin Chiam would be able to take his lead run, and he would only need to get through that run without incompleting, and he would move on into the top 16. So he is looking down the barrel of a shotgun right now, so to speak, with regards to his competitive future at this round. And it's crazy how quickly the tables can turn.
Yes, it is. Yeah, he qualified third. Wataru Masuyama. Benjamin Chiam qualified in 30th. Big difference here in terms of points, the scale from one to the other. But you can't really overcome a mechanical issue that happens this seriously on track. So it's, there we go. They're getting those go jacks out of there now that they got the vehicle straight, and they're going to drag it back up onto the tow truck. And hopefully we can get him off the track now.
Oh, it looks like something finally broke loose there. Well, not really.
No. Yeah, it's odd that the wheels will roll backwards but not forward. So does that mean differential? Is that what that means? The diff broke and the gears are only wanting to go one way? I'm not sure.
I think so.
Making assumptions right now, Ryan, and I don't even know what I'm talking about.
That's fine.
Yeah. So my mechanically inclined friend Robbie Nishida did confirm that perhaps our assumptions are correct. Perhaps. But as he said, we're just guessing right now. We don't know. But at least the car's on the flatbed. We're getting it off. Unfortunately, there is a spill on the track, so they are putting down what looks like flour from here. And it's going to hopefully soak up all the liquid, the fluid that's on the track. Try to get that cleaned up a little bit better and then go to our next battle, which would be Kazuhiro Kubo versus Daisuke Hara.
10:38 a.m. local time here in Okuibuki Ski and Snowboard Park. Just 4 more battles left to go outside of the, 3 more full battles left to go, and the conclusion of the driver you see there on your screen. And Benjamin Chiam, who's already gone back to the pit area and is awaiting what to be told what to do with regards to the second half of this battle, which may or may not come to fruition.
Yes.
Competition timeout, as we saw from the Murayama incident, will start as soon as the vehicle touches the ground and the team can get hands on cars. There's always the possibility that the team will know enough about the damage pretty quickly and just go ahead and give up on it. But if you're a fan of Formula Drift, you know that a lot of the action does happen in the hot grid and in the pit area, especially for us where we have the camera crew down there. We saw some incredible, crazy things happen at St. Louis with all of the collisions and contact that was going on there. Matt Field and Chelsea Denofa and Ken Gucci and Vaughn and Chris, and tons of stuff that happened in the hot pits is pretty incredible. But we also know that a lot of times teams will see that the car is damaged to a certain extent that there's no real reason for them to try to fix it in that time frame. But 9 times out of 10, they will go for it. They've constructed these vehicles to be as modular as they possibly can without being tube chassis, so they can get those fixes readily available. We are seeing Benjamin Chiam just off screen come up to the entrance gate as the track staff finalizes laying down some of that oil down powder to ensure that there's no slippery conditions. Here's how it happened, Ryan. Taking a look at it again. Watch the rear of the car. It just locks up. It spins for a second and stops. And not sure if Chiam's bump there contributed at all. You can see the car is rolling still, but then it eventually stops right after outside zone 2, and that's where we pick up the action now. Nice little crowd out here making it up. I was out running this morning and went down to the bottom of the hill, and there was a nice line of cars. Hundreds of cars driving up. It was pretty fun to see tons of modified vehicles, and you know, if you spend some time here in Japan, you hear some people say that you know, young people are not getting into cars as much, but you know, you come to these events and you certainly see a lot of enthusiasts, so it's quite encouraging.
You can see our dorm. You can see the hill we climb in the morning when we have time. So people trying to stay out of the sun. Oh, Croc your dream. I thought that was in reference to Crocs, but I think it's perhaps another brand. Lacoste, perhaps?
Yeah, Lacoste.
Yeah, I just see a lot of Crocs here. I made a little joking post about it yesterday on my stories, and people were saying, you need to embrace the Crocs. They're so comfortable. They're so great. I just can't get on board with them, unfortunately, but everybody here certainly does. Very popular.
You haven't gone to the Eggert realm, though, and embraced sandals as your primary foot attire.
11 months out of the year, despite living in a cold place.
Yeah.
No.
Mr. Virginia is sandal man.
He wears them in the snow. I don't know how he does that, but. So you see Masuyama's car down off the flatbed. We're going to see if he can get it fixed in 5 minutes. Benjamin Cham had 10, and he's already done. I believe he did it in 3. They just wanted to check the car over. So, you know, his 10 minutes wasn't really used that much, but he had it if he needed it. And you can see these mechanics here, Masuyama's mechanics running around trying to assess the damage to that car, see what needs to be fixed. The way they're moving around, it looks pretty positive. It looks like they have a plan. There's the diff that he's so elegantly carrying. And looks like they're going to make a go of it, Ryan. They're going to try to get that thing changed out in 5 minutes.
I promote that.
We do have cars in the burnout box right now.
All right, so at least we know we're going to get the next battle underway. You'll see the 2 drivers heading to the line, which are there and there. That's Kazuhiro Kubo and Daisuke Hara. The inverse numbers, 58 and 85, on the line here. 14 and 19 in your qualifying order from yesterday. So pretty evenly matched with respect to that. Both drivers spent a lot of time in FD Japan. Kubo getting a good jump here. Initiates that outside zone. Now heading into this inside clip. Hada with a big flick back, trying to close the door here. Kubo out front, a little bit less angle, but he's starting to pull away. And now here comes Hada toward the end. So we'll want to take a look at that first outside zone again, Ryan. But what stood out to you in run number 1?
Well, there's not a whole, there's nothing glaring, let's say, put it that way. Did an okay job in outside zone 1. I think he could have done better there in the lead position. Outside zone 2, looks like he got into the box slightly, but then left it and got in it very, very late. Went a tire off, reduced some angle. So there were some mistakes from both drivers here in the chase position. Hara is not really in proximity, not mimicking very, very well what's going on. You can see his line was even tighter through outside zone 2 than Kubo's was in the lead. So not mimicking all that well either. It's just kind of one of those battles where you don't see anything outstanding, but some mistakes from both. So hopefully we get a cleaner second run where we can get a little bit more information on who should win this battle.
All right, here we go. Second run. Hada in the lead position now. Pretty nose to tail there on initiation. And middle line through that outside zone. Good job by Hada in the lead position. Kubo was on a tighter line there. Cone hit, but again, the lead run from Hada looking pretty solid. He does, oh no, he reduces the angle there right after he leaves outside zone 3. And that quick punctuation allowed Kubo to gain some proximity. But let's take a look at this again as Hada was looking pretty solid in his lead run.
It looks like Hara maybe hit the wall at outside zone 3, causing him to straighten up. and having to reinitiate. So let's watch here on outside zone 1. Gets that right rear tire into about the middle of the box. Yeah, not too bad there on outside zone 1. Kubo is in the chase position, not really on the same line, kind of a little bit tighter. Hara doing a great job there on outside zone number 2. But watch Hara here as he gets out to the wall. You can see the little bump right there, loses some angle. Doesn't necessarily go fully straight, but definitely could have been a little bit cleaner through that area.
All right, so judges taking both runs into account now as we are in the view sight, not in the camera angle that you're looking at there, but just to the left of that, we are seeing Masuyama's car still up. But let's go to the results here for Hara and Kubo.
Might be split, Ryan. There we go.
And Kubo gets it by a split decision. Both Andy Yen and Robbie Nishida go for Kubo. Ryan, you went for the one more time, but it'll be enough for Kubo to get the victory.
From what I gathered there is that the wall tap from Hara was taken a little bit more seriously than it was from me, so that's probably what they were looking at.
All right, here we go. Big battle here. The Heyman, Shinji Minowa, taking on Hiroki Vito. Minowa, definitely a championship contender, but this is where he's got to get on fire. He's in that top 5.
Ryan, breaking news.
Go ahead.
Masuyama's broken. Cannot be fixed.
Cannot be fixed.
This has some huge championship implications for him and for the rest of the field, for that matter, especially the guys that are up near the top with him.
Well, breaking news, as you say, Ryan, both literally and figuratively there. Masuyama breaks out of competition. We saw the incident there replayed a number of times. And that will mean that opportunities to close the championship door exist for drivers like this in the lead position. Shinji Minowa in the top 5 right now. He can explode at this event and close the gap. Gets that initiation into outside zone 1. Fills it pretty well. Vito was on a tighter line there. Now he's trying to gain some proximity, but Minowa gets into that outside zone and stays deep. He makes it difficult for him. And even though Vito's got proximity now, he did it by taking a tighter line. So he sacrificed a little bit to gain proximity, but he's now going to have to come back with a solid lead run because Minowa checked off all the boxes in the lead.
Great lead from Minowa. Did a good job on outside zone 1, getting that right rear tire in the box through the whole thing. Great job on outside zone 2 as well, which is a tough one to get. So outside zone 1, right around the middle of that box. Not too bad at all. Right there, nice and tight on inside clip 1. Watch this tire here. All the way through outside zone number 2 in the box. Perfectly done. In the chase, Vito, like you said, making some compromises, not really mimicking the lead driver's line and trying to make those compromises to gain on the proximity side, which is so important from the chase driver.
So a good start there for Shinji Minowa. He'll move to the chase position here. Hiroki Vito was fighting, made some mistakes, but kept some proximity after outside zone 3. He'll now have an opportunity to try and better the lead of Shinji. Here we go, second half of the battle. Near the end of the top 32. Good initiation there. Let's see how he does. He's going to be a little bit shallower on that outside zone. Let's see if Minowa attacks after the inside clip. Vito does a pretty good job on that second outside zone, however. But Shinji is trying to not let him get away. Vito puts the gas down and moves quickly through that final inside clip. But you have to think that both the lead run of Minowa is better, and he may even have edged him on the chase. Let's take a look at it again, Ryan.
You're right. I think that Minowa did stand out in the lead position. You can see Vito here not filling outside zone number 1. He did get the tire in the box a little bit later, but not as well as Minowa did. Even on outside zone 2, you can see Vito kind of gets out of the box and back in. Minowa filled that whole thing. Right here, Vito pulls out a lot of angle, and you can see him pulling away from Minowa, so that's going to be a compromise in the lead position in that area. Shinji's doing the best that he can in the chase when the lead is making those compromises, and I think that Minowa is going to pull out in front here in this battle.
Slide him left for Vito, right for Minowa. All 3 judges unanimous. Shinji Minowa moves on into the top 16. Car 90 has made his move And he is in good position here. He has no championship contenders now that Masuyama is out on his side of the bracket. He would only meet a championship contender in the Final Four, and it would have to be against Andrew Gray if Gray and Minowa were able to make it all the way through. Final battle here after this bye run by Benjamin Chiam is Hayato Miyoshi and Yukiko Ishiguro. But first, let's get Chiam underway. All he needs to do is show that the vehicle can get off the line under its own power, and he'll move right on, so that'll solidify it.
So you can see here again, Ryan, this is one of the drivers we were talking about yesterday that seemed to have a very, very tight car, very, very grippy, and he had a hard time getting to outside zone 1 there. Maybe just playing it safe because it is just a bye run, but you can see that the car is very fast, very grippy. Could maybe dial it back a little bit in our opinion, but he seems to be making it work. We don't really know how he would have fared in that tandem battle as we didn't get to watch any of it. Up until the initiation point was all we saw. So we'll have to see what happens when we get into the top 16. He'll be going up against Kubo, who was a 14th place qualifier. So Chiam is so far the only upset on the right side of the bracket. He was 30th and beat 3rd place Masuyama due to Masuyama braking in that first run of the battle. Now we have, as you said earlier, Miyoshi against Ishiguro. That's the 11th place qualifier against the 22nd place qualifier.
All right, so both drivers just about ready here as we wait for Ishiguro to finish up his burnout. Now being signaled up to the start line. There he is.
She is.
That's right, correct. Our lone female making it into the top 32 from yesterday.
She was looking great in practice this morning, Ryan, so hopefully she can pull that through all the way into top 32 competition here.
Got into the 80s in her qualifying run and did it on her first run, in fact. Let's see what she can do against a very fast Miyoshi, who throws big initiations, but he's going to be on the inside. Oh no, the front end is going to wash out. The vehicle has a malfunction. Run will be over here. You'll see the flags probably come out if there's any danger. It looks like she's able to make it past the crossover, but in that particular case, she moved out of the way, so Miyoshi would need to finish the run. He does do that, but the front end washed out. It looked like there was a bit of malfunction. That may have actually been a misshift there. Let's take a look at this one more time.
Yeah, in the lead position, looks like Miyoshi does a decent job watching outside zone 1. Let's see where his right tire ends up. Right on the inside line there. And then maybe she just got in the chase position a little too gripped up. Maybe it was a misshift or a potentially just a power delivery issue. Maybe she wasn't committed enough on throttle. She was looking so good in practice. She did a couple of leads, some chases, and she was on it. She was looking great. It's just unfortunate that she wasn't able to do that same type of driving here in top 32 competition.
Tough position to be in right here for Ishiguro, but she has an opportunity in the lead to try and force an error on Miyoshi, which is the only thing that can get it into a comparison of lead to leads. Here we go. He's got to pull out all the stops. Big flick into the outside zone, a bit too deep. Oh, and saved by the big foam blocks. Runs over here. Miyoshi can shut it down.
There was contact between the two of them, though, Ryan. You could see the just behind the rear wheel of the R34 is, I think he made contact with her left rear corner.
So at first pass, it looks like it was a bit too aggressive and on the wrong side of the line there. Initiation, Ryan, but walk us through what you see.
Yeah, she knew she needed to throw something down that was really great. You can see she just overdoes it a little bit. You can see that bump from Miyoshi right there. A couple of parts fall off the car. So she does have a bit of damage in that right rear corner from the contact from the two, between the two of them. but definitely her fault in both situations, unfortunately. So Miyoshi will move on to top 16 to battle against Shinji Minoa.
Unanimous victory there for Hayato Miyoshi. That concludes our top 32. We saw quite a few upsets. Arguably the most important is Wataru Masuyama, who goes out of competition with a mechanical failure. You guys are watching the fourth round of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship. We're here at Okuibuki Ski Park. And Ryan, we've got a halftime break that's going to be taking place right now, where we will be back on competition at 2 p.m. local time with opening ceremonies. That'll be when we start the top 16, but opening ceremonies will be starting at 1:30 local time.
So it's in 3 hours from now. Competition starts, 2.5 hours for the actual opening ceremonies.
And if you are looking for the time zone that you're in, you could head to the Formula Drift Instagram or Formula Drift Japan Instagram page. In Los Angeles, that'd be 21:30. In London, it's going to be 5:30, 05:30 that is. In Sydney, that's going to be 14:30. Anyways, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. A very eventful top 32 here up in Okuibuki, but we will take this halftime break and we'll come back and kick off the top 16 opening ceremonies in just a bit. Bye.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる、止まる、止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。
The brightness called brilliant. Valendy.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. ブリッド。
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Gaspo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Kenda。
伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮、チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、オグラレーシングクラッチ ORC。
モティー。
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる、止まる、止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば
横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。
The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
クオリティオブジャパニーズクラフトマンシップ。ブリッド。
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Galspo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
剣だ。
伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮、チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、オグラレーシングクラッチ ORC。
モティ。
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.